what point did you actually start to realize that there was something wrong with your relationship? What happened?
What's so weird about it is that I really never did. Uh, all the way, like, I was out. I had my surgery right at the end of August, 1st of September. And then all the way throughout the rest of the year, everything was cool. And then around Valentine's Day is what really stuck out of 2005. Because when I was off the road and I was at home, I'd never done it. You know, I'd been on the road for 7.5 years, whatever, just nonstop. And now I'm at home and I built my house and I'm there and I'm like doing all these things I've never done before. Like, you know, I'm in my basement and I'm like hanging up all these pictures and framing things. And I put together my wrestling mausoleum, you know, and I've got this huge, just a huge wall just of wrestling stuff. And I had all the covers with me, Jeff, and Amy, and I built all these shelves and put figures on there. You know, and I'm decorating my house, doing things in my bedroom. And, you know, I went on eBay and bought all these arcade games and make a little arcade down there. And I went and bought like a home gym and put it in my basement. And I'm getting all this stuff done. I'm like, man, this is cool. Just being at home and having time to do things and, you know, not being stressed out about working and just healing up. And just really, I appreciated things a lot more. And I was going, really, like, I'd always see myself being with Amy, but I could see me and Amy being here and having a dog and having a couple kids and just liking it great. And without wrestling, it was really the first time in my life I'd ever looked at it where I kind of thought out of the box as far as not even wrestling. And then Amy was always a huge gift giver. And just like my dad raised myself and Jeff really hard, really stern. Like he didn't say, like, you know, well, I love you boys, and didn't get us these great gifts at our birthday. You know, he would say, well, it's your birthday, here's $20 or whatever, you know, get yourself something nice. He was just that kind of father. So I think that kind of rubbed off on me because that's how I was. Like, you know, whenever it was her birthday, I would go out and get her something nice, you know, whatever, but I wouldn't make a big ordeal about it, you know, at first. But then as I saw she appreciated that more, I would. You know, I would have a card and a present and this other thing and maybe a special little treat or whatever. And as time went on, I know she had her knee surgery. She actually injured her knee at the New Year's Revolution. And whenever she came home, I remember meeting her at the airport when I picked her up. And I had flowers for her, and I had a bottle of wine and a present and a card because I just knew she was so down and out because at this point she was back from her injury, and this was the first time she got through this cane angle, which to her was a nightmare, being pregnant and not wrestling. And now she was wrestling Trish Stratus, and she won the women's title, and they were having a great match. You know, they had the main event on Raw, which was a real kick-ass match, and she was doing really good. And now she hurts herself, and she does the same thing I did. You know, she's really down and out about it. And I just remember her coming home, and I was just like, 2 or 3 years ago, I wouldn't have done that. You know, but now our relationship had changed, and I'd matured so much, and I kind of saw what this relationship thing's all about a lot more in detail, and it's kind of, for me, even progressed further than being best friends. You know what I mean? It's more like a relationship, you know, a male and female lover. So anyway, I have these flowers and wine and gifts. You know, she's like, real, you know, oh my God, it's so thoughtful, thanks for doing this, whatever. A few weeks later is Valentine's Day, and now we're both off, and she's rehabbing, and I still am too, but I'm getting ready to come back. And Valentine's Day, man, I go out and get her a shitload of stuff because she would always get me a ton of stuff for Valentine's Day. And to me, Valentine's Day was just always like a goofy holiday. It was just like, you know, whatever. Like, that doesn't even count. You know, Christmas is cool and
Right.
birthdays are cool, but Valentine's Day, you know, I'd like get a card, and, you know, a little something. But I got her a ton of shit, a ton of stuff. And she'd been in Birmingham that week doing rehab there because she went to Birmingham to do the rehab. And then she came home, and I figured while she was in Birmingham, she would like stocked up and had all this nice Valentine's stuff for me. And it was Valentine's Day, and I gave her all my stuff, and she didn't have anything. Right there, I knew something was wrong. That was really the point. And oh, I'm sorry, I missed a very, very important part of this whole story. Because looking back, whenever she had her surgery in Birmingham, she flew in, and I had all that stuff for her. Even if you come back in this, whatever, you can, I guess, do whatever you want to do, or you can let it run.
We're going to let it totally...
Just let it run.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, whenever she injured herself and she flew in, and like I said, I had wine, I had flowers, a card. I was trying to be real thoughtful and supportive. She came in. A couple days later, she flew to Atlanta, and she was going to meet her mom, and I was going to drive down to Atlanta, and we were all going to drive over to Birmingham for her surgery, and I was going to be there. The reason I was driving instead of flying was because I had an appearance the next morning, and the only way, or the next Friday morning, and her surgery was on Thursday, and I was going to spend that night and come back as late as I could after her surgery. The way it worked out, I had to drive to get back, was it, because there was no connections that would get me back in time for my flight to make my appearance. So anyway, she flies down to her mom. She's hanging out with her mom's. I drive her first to Raleigh, which was like an hour out of the way, drop her off at the airport. I start driving down to Charlotte, and I've made my way about 3 hours, and she calls me, and she'd left her MRIs and her x-rays at home. Like, they can't do the surgery without MRIs and X-rays, and like her surgery's at 6 a.m. in the morning, and right now it's already like whatever 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So then I turn around and drive like 120 miles back home, which is 2 more hours, which that puts me at like 1 hour, 3 hours, 4. It was like 6 or 7 more hours there, and then I drove all the way to Atlanta, which was 6 more hours. So it's about 12 hours on the road, and now I'm going to drive 2 more hours to Birmingham, which was like 14 hours. I was doing a lot of driving for that bitch that day,
Huh.
but it was just like the way things worked out and had to be. But while I was driving down, and I was on the phone, I was calling whatever Christian, and I'd call left Adam a message, and I was talking just to everybody, just whatever, killing time, it is when you're on the road. So anyway, I am approaching about an hour outside of Atlanta, and I get a call from Edge. I have him on the phone. It's Edge. It says Edge home. So I'd called him on his cell phone earlier. I just figured it was him. I was going, "Yeah, what's going on, boy?" That's what we'd say all the time we pick up. And the phone, on the other end of the phone, it said, "Matt, this is Lisa." And the only time I'd really met Adam's wife was at his wedding, which Amy and I attended like back in October. I said, "Hey, what's going on? Is everything cool? Everything all right? What you doing?" She said, I just found some really odd text messages between Adam and Amy, and there was a text message that said, I love you. She said, "Do you know anything about that?" And I was like, "Nah, but that sounds pretty fucking weird." I said, "Now, are you sure about this?" And I just didn't know what to think of her then, but she buzzed me and she said, "Yeah, I saw that," she said. And Amy had text messaged Adam, I guess. He text messaged her, and she text messaged back, said, "Well, I'm going to miss, seeing you while I'm out on the road. Love you." And then I said, "Wow, that's really weird." I said, "I'll check in on that." I said, "Cool." And then I called Adam afterwards. I said, "Hey, man, give me a call. Actually, just talked to somebody pretty interesting. I'd like to talk to you for a second." And then I called Amy up right after that, who's at her mom's, and I said, "Hey, Amy, this is a little odd, but I just got a text. I just got a call from Adam's wife, and she said she saw a text message from me." She said, "Oh yeah, I actually text messaged him earlier and just said like," I said, "It was a pretty fucking odd text message." She said, "Oh yeah, text message just said like, I'm gonna miss being on the road with you and love you, dude." She said, "Because I we'd rode together some, because when Amy was on her own, she rode on her own for a while, and she was just like bored and by herself while I was out on knee surgery. And then she rode with some of the girls, and then the girls aggravated the shit out of her. And then she rode on her own again, and then there's one guy that works with the office she rode with a little bit. And one time Adam jumped in because he was doing his book appearances with both of them. And then the following week, I guess Adam had got a car and said, "Well, Amy, if you want to jump in with me, you can." And she did, and I knew they were riding together, and I was like, cool. It's like being with my brother.
Right.
Trust him completely. I would never think twice about it. So anyway, Amy fessed right up on the thing, just like, "Oh yeah, that's what it said." She said, I was just kind of, the mom said, "I'm sorry." She said, "I know if you text message that to a girl, I'd think it was really weird, but I was just kind of, I'd been drinking. I took a couple pain pills for my knee, and that is where I text messaged him." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well," just because I'd never been suspicious of stuff before, I was like, "Okay, well, that's cool. I appreciate the honesty." I said, "That's weird." I said, "If I text message Trish that, don't you think it'd be pretty weird if I was text messaging Trish and Victoria, I'm going to miss hanging out with you, I love you?" She said, "Yeah, I think it was real weird." She said, "But, that's what the deal was." I was like, "Okay." Adam eventually called me back. He's like, hey buddy. I said, "Hey, man, I just actually talked to your wife, and she told me there was a text message between you and Amy." He said, is that true? I said, "Did you get a text message from her?" I said, "Yeah, she just text messaged me just saying, like, she's going to have surgery coming up, and it's, her surgery's tomorrow, and what time it is." I said, "Oh, really? That's what the text message said?" He said, "Yeah, just let me know she's having her surgery and what time it was, and, I was just going to text message her back, like, I hope everything goes well." I said, "Okay. All right, cool." Then I called Amy back. I said, "Why did Adam just lie to me about that text message?" So I'm sure he was just embarrassed. Can you imagine? She said, Amy was fucking working pretty good there. She said, "Well, I'm sure he was just embarrassed, because his wife called and told you that." She said, that's what the text message said. She said, "But I'm sure he just didn't want to tell you that because you think it was being weird. But, his wife's being weird. He's been telling me all about how his relationship with his wife's real bad, and she's real nutty and real crazy, this, that, and the other thing." And, dude, I bought into it just because with her, man, like, we'd always been on the level. I was going, okay, cool. And then when I got to Atlanta, we got in the car and I was driving across to Birmingham, and her mom was following us, and it was the worst time ever because I still had this awkward feeling, and I was going to bring this up and talk about it. And we're driving, and I'm just kind of like beating around the bush, and I was like, "Was there anything you want to talk about?" Whatever, kind of turn on the music. How's your knee feeling? So that was weird, Lisa calling me. She's not leading on anything. And I just asked her, I said, "Okay, I got to ask this." I said, "Because I got this weird feeling that's burning me. I'm going to ask you one time and one time only. What's the deal with that text message you're doing, Adam?" She said, "Well, honestly, just when I traveled with him," she said, "I probably got mentally a lot closer to him than I should have because, like, I wasn't around you as much, and he was just kind of like the guy, you know, the male presence in my life. And we just had good conversation. He talked to me a lot about his relationship, and I probably didn't mentally get closer to him than I should have, and I shouldn't have done that. And I text messaged him that, but you know, that's pretty much the deal. I just said, I'm only gonna ask you this one time only. Was there ever anything physical happen between you guys? She said no. I said, okay, cool. I'm not gonna ask you anymore. I just wanted to know the deal. I said, if you're being honest, then thanks for your honesty. And we go down, we have her surgery, and it's real awkward. Even that next morning, I hate it because like I only slept a couple hours, and I was like gonna be there with surgery and stay as late as I could that day. Then I was gonna drive over the course of the night so I could make my flight the next morning. And just I remember they got her ready, and they're getting ready to wheel her into surgery, and I come over and I was holding her hand. It's still this awkward feeling because it's just awkward. She's looking at me and she's scared she's going to go to surgery, and she knows that I'm not all there too because of this going on. And deep down, she really must feel awkward. And you know, she has her surgery, does her thing, you know. But then she comes home, and then we're home, and we're there all the time. And you know, that kind of fades away, and I don't think about it, especially because she's not on the road. And then once this Valentine's Day thing happened, and I definitely knew something was wrong there. So because this isn't in your character, you know, I got you a bunch of stuff, and you didn't get me anything. And then I actually went and checked her phone. And she had a phone on my package. I have a couple phones, A line, B line. My dad's got a phone on my package, and I had her phone on my package, 4 phones. And I went over and opened up her phone, and there was an incoming call from Adam. And I'm like, why is this motherfucker calling you? What's going on here? She said, oh, he's just calling to check on me, whatever. I was going, but it's Valentine's Day, and like you're not getting me anything. Like, what's going on here? And then she kind of breaks into this thing, like, well, I'm not really sure what I'm doing in my life, and just now that I'm hurt, I'm not sure how much longer I want to wrestle. I don't know if I want to wrestle. I don't know if I want to live here, you know, in Cameron for the rest of my life, because she's living with me now. She's living with me for like a year and a half. I'm like, where in the fuck is this coming from? This is coming out of left field. And, you know, she puts up this big thing. She said, so I just don't really know. I said, what's the deal with Adam calling you? She said, nothing. I said, why are you acting like this? And, you know, where she said, I don't know. She said, I don't know if I'm just going through a period of my life. I'm just not sure what I want. I'm not sure what my future holds. And then there's a couple of days just where it's just real fucking odd and kind of tense, you know, but nothing really ever comes out. And then like it's a Thursday night, and I remember she goes to bed, and like all the while up in this, like our relationship had never been different. You know, she'd come home, love you, any kind of, you know, romantic, physical involvement, nothing was ever different. Everything was the same. Everything was good. And then this week is kind of the week where everything broke down. And then it was a Thursday night, and I remember like she went to bed, she was sleeping, I came in there, and I was just thinking about how weird and how fucking odd she's been. And I remember I couldn't sleep, and I got up, and I left, and I went and slept on the couch. Just mad, just having this weird vibe, and I know something's going on, and she's hiding something from me. And she gets up that next day, like, you know, what's going on here? I said, what the fuck's going on with you? I said, what's happening here? I said, why won't you tell me what's going on? I said, you're not telling me something, and I know that. She said, well, I just have a lot of stuff on my mind, and this, that, and the other thing. And she said, I think I might should go stay with my mom for a day or two and just think about things. I said, what the fuck is this? I mean, what is there to think about that we can't talk about? I don't understand. And she says, well, I just want to go, let me take Lucas out. I just want to go up to this park in Raleigh. She said, I'm just going to go up there and walk around and think about things and what I need to be doing in my life, because I'm not sure right now. I'm at a crossroads. So fine, great, do that. So I got with the guys. It's the evening. She goes, and I'm really upset. She's calling me like 3 or 4 times. Like, just call and see what you're doing. Have you calmed down? And I'm just sorry things are awkward. I didn't pick up any of her calls. I went out with some of the guys, and I got fucking hammered that night. And we're out at the club and doing this, whatever, just chilling and talking about things. I was talking about how pissed off I was at her. And she text messaged me like, you know, are you coming home tonight? I said, yeah, I'm coming home. I'll be there about, you know, whatever. I'll be there at 1:30 a.m., whatever. I said, I want to talk tonight. I said, so fucking be ready. I said, be at home and be awake. And I got home at 1:30, and I had this big buzz going on, so the truth was pouring out, silly. You know, and I just really related to her. I was like, what the fuck's going on? We've had this perfect relationship for the longest time, and then all of a sudden you've got odd. I said, and I haven't done anything wrong here, and I don't know what's going on. There's something you're not telling me, and there's a major, major problem. And I said, like, what is it? And she said, my head hasn't been where it needs to be. She said, I've been fucking up, she said. And starting today, I'm going to straighten things up. And we actually had some of the most passionate sex we'd ever had that night.
Right.
Just fucking killer. Great. Amazing. And earlier that day, I'd like called her mom. You know, like, what's going on with Amy? Have you talked to her? Because she's being so weird, da-da-da-da-da-da. And just because I was still paranoid, I still don't have any evidence on her. But I called Adam and said, hey, man, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I saw you called, you know, Amy on Valentine's Day. And is there something going on here that I need to know about? He said, no, not at all, buddy. Not at all, buddy. I said, because, like, we're on the fucking verge of splitting up now, I think. I said, just because she's being so weird. I said, I've never seen anything like this before. I said, whatever's going on, I said, don't call her anymore. I said, you don't call my girlfriend, and if she calls you, don't answer. Okay? Oh, yeah, buddy. Yeah, if there's anything I can do, please let me know, buddy. Buddy. A lot of buddies in there. Anything I can do, buddy. So anyway, it turns out Friday, what happened in her head was she went to this park, she thought about things, and the deal was, her and Adam had approached her while they were on the road and started talking about his relationship because it's shitty. He says, I just look at you and Matt, and you guys have this perfect relationship. And just, how do you do it? What about this? If Lisa, if I do this and I go out and then I would tell Lisa that I went out with the boys and went to eat and then we stopped by the strip club, he'd go nuts. What would you say if Matt told you that? And she's like, I wouldn't care just because I trust him. That's how we've been. Or vice versa. And he's like, oh, I would never let Lisa do that because that would, do this, do that. And then she's like, oh, well, Matt would definitely be cool with that just because he knows it's cool. And she says, God, your guys' relationship's so great. He says, I'd love to have a relationship like that. And then he's just, where they're making these drives. And still, to me, I think he had an agenda from day one. Because there'd always been a part of him that he always liked Amy's deal, just how she was a little different, a little alternative. And he always kind of dug that. And then it turns out that he starts chipping away at her going, but just sometimes when you're out, you and Matt are out, you just guys don't like, you're just in love. Sometimes you're just like friends, like I don't see him being affectionate. I mean, if I was with you, I would always like buy you flowers. I would always kiss you and tell you how beautiful you are. And say, she goes, oh, I mean, he does, just not always in public or whatever. Yeah, but I mean, I would show you off to the world like you'd be the greatest thing ever, like you'd be my treasure. And like now I think in her head she's going like, God, would this guy really do that? I'm missing out on something. But then it's just like weeks, it's like hours of this, and he's just kind of chipping away, and then she starts buying into it. And then I guess there's time like, well, they stop at a hotel, and he says, well, I'm going to watch some TV. You just want to come over and watch TV, and it starts kind of innocent like that. Just going, if I would just love to sit here in bed with you all day and watch TV or whatever, and like nothing physically is going on. I guess sometime mid-December, I guess there's a point where he tries to put a move on her and kiss her, and she kind of pulls away, and she knows it's not right, but she never told me about it.
How did you find out about this?
Talking with her afterwards, because she fessed up everything.
Right.
So physically, their whole deal was never as involved as people really thought it was. But like mentally, they both got real fucked up mentally. Like where they had this thing going on, where he's married, going home, and she's coming home saying she loves me, and she really was. Like she got to a point where she was in love with two men. Where she was coming home telling me that, but then like she was so fucked up, and like I guess it was killing her after she got hurt, being away from him and not communicating. But I'd found out, lo and behold, she had her old phone, which was a Sprint line as well, that she'd never disconnected. Whenever she got my phone, she just put it on the most minimal package you could. But then I pulled up her records, and she was calling him constantly on that phone. And like, if I would go to the gym or I would do this, that's where all the calls were stimulated. That's where they were all stemming from.
Right.
Whenever I was at home, and she was kind of kayfabing it on my phone because I was still getting that phone bill. And just once again, this is just hit me out of the blue because I would have never thought she would have done this. And then that Friday when we come home and she went to the park that day, basically, is what she told me in a nutshell, that she'd made a decision, like, either I can leave Matt and try and start hanging out with Adam if that's what I want to do, or I can just cut everything off with Adam now and not fuck up my thing with Matt before it gets out. And she decided that she was just going to stay with me. And that's when she came home that day, like, once again, and Saturday was great. It was just like she was all over me. It was just like, our sex was great that day. Sunday she had an appearance where she had to go to Canada. And the thing is, she dodged Adam's calls that weekend. And I think she told him on Saturday, she said, look, don't call me. I've been fucking up. And I need to stop this right now. And I'm fucking up, and I got a good thing going on here with Matt. We're, a house, the whole thing, we're set. I don't need to do this anymore. So she goes to do this appearance in Canada. I remember talking to her a couple times there. She comes home that Monday. And whenever she landed that Monday and drove home, we hung out all Monday, had another great day. And during the course of when she came home, Adam had been burning up her phone line and leaving all these messages like, I just want to know, are you not going to be with me? If you're going to be with Matt, I guess you're going to be with Matt, but I don't know if I can live with myself. And it's just, I don't mean to make you feel guilty, but I just got to know because I can't sleep at night. I just want you to know I love you. I love you. I love you. And don't forget that. I mean, I love you. I love you so much. Like 8 times. Like a fucking psycho. And she hadn't checked these messages because she came home. She was kind of missing his calls a little bit because she was trying to get her head back in the game because she was so mentally fucked up. And then these calls, I think all these calls happened on Monday where he called numerous times. because one call, she said, well, I was hoping to get you. You should be driving home from the airport now. I think you were landing at so-and-so time, and I know you've only got a small window of time that you can still talk to me before you get home, and I just want to talk to you. I just want to know, Operation System Cease Adam is still in effect, and like these little catchphrases
Right.
saying whatever. Anyway, she comes home. I remember Monday we went and had sushi. We came home in bed, did our thing that night, and it was like 5, 6 in the morning. I got up and I was going to get water, and I got some water. And actually on the Matt Hardy show, the first episode is coming out. This is reenacted as well.
Huh.
Actually coming out, grabbing some water, and I'm drinking it. And then all of a sudden her little purse gimmick, where that phone was sitting there. And it's weird because I've never been like a snooper in my life, especially in a relationship. But just coming off the events, I saw the other phone sitting there. I just thought it was weird that it was like sitting up on top of her back. And I pulled it out and listened to it. And it was a message from him, and it's these messages saying, I love you, and this, that. So then that's a dead giveaway. Something's wrong here. And then there's another message, and another message, because he'd been calling on top, and she just hadn't checked him, because she'd been with me, and just
Right.
having a good time. Then I stormed in the bedroom and yanked the covers off of her, and, I played those messages. Well, first, I sent those messages to both of my phones, and I sent them to Hurricane, just in case nobody believed the story. Like, it wasn't going to be a fishtail. This shit really happened.
Right.
And I go in there and I rip the covers off of her. And I said, now we're going to play a game called Tell the Fucking Truth. And play those messages out loud. And I go like, what in the fuck is going on here? What has happened between you two? I said, I asked you one time, was there anything physical ever happened? I said, you don't say I love you, and there's not physical shit happening. And then, there was a small confession of what was going on. She was crying. I was upset. I was going, get the fuck out of my house. You fucking make me sick. Get the fuck out of my house. I proceeded to kick her out, and I remember even an act of kindness where he said, well, I've got so much stuff here. I said, your stuff's fine, just get out of here. I said, I can't stand to look at you right now. And I kicked her out. It was a big ordeal that morning. And then I called Adam. I called Adam's wife. He was on the way home from TV. I called Adam's wife and said, let your answering machine pick up. I said, apparently Adam and Amy's got some shit going on. I said, I confiscated all these messages from Adam. I said, let your answering machine pick up, and I'll leave them on your answering machine. And I called Adam. He was flying. His phone was off. I said, hey, motherfucker. I said, I know what the deal is. I said, I know it all. I said, I've already kicked fucking Amy out of my house. I said, when I see you, I will slap the fuck out of you, you ungrateful bastard. I said, as a matter of fact, just in case you're wondering, I've already called your wife and played these messages for her, or left them on the machine, whatever. I think he lands and immediately calls his wife, baby, please don't listen to those messages, because it's not gonna help anything. We can still fix this. Don't. It's a mistake. You don't understand. And I end up, and he calls me, he goes, oh, and he's just crying like a baby. He's going, oh, buddy, I'm sorry. It's not too late for you. You can fix it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, what the fuck was going on, man? What in the fuck? How in the fuck did you do this to me? To me, as close as we were. Because he'd be one of those guys, they say there's, you can count on one hand the people who were true friends in the business, and he'd been one of them. And for it to come from him, and then with Amy, who I, held on the same level, if not higher than me, and especially because his whole thing, as far as getting in there, was like, he approached her with this big romantic angle as far as going above and beyond, which is like something even before, like, even when we were best friends, like, that wasn't even her characteristic, even like those kind of things. But now maybe as her getting older, they were a little more attractive. Is everything cool?
Yeah.
But as getting older, they were a little more attractive to her. And she kind of, was sucked into that trap. But then I just called back, man, because he called me, he was crying, cut a huge promo on him. And he's trying to salvage this thing with Lisa, and there's a big ordeal there, and I guess, I think she leaves the house while he's there. And then I talked to them both, and I'm just like, Amy, if there's any chance of repairing this, there's only a small window of opportunity. You can't talk to that motherfucker at all. I said, we got to get this stuff straight. But then he's all on her, calling and back and forth, and they won't stop talking. And I talked to him a couple days later. I said, if you're going to repair your marriage with your wife, and Amy's going to repair a relationship with me, I said, you guys have to stop talking right now. I said, that's it. I said, especially he's going, let's don't let this get out, buddy. Nobody has to know. Or da-da-da-da.
Did any of the boys know about this at all before, and kayfabed you guys?
Shane? No.
Okay.
Nobody knew.
Okay.
Nobody knew at all. They did a fucking great job. And once again, it wasn't this long, steamy love affair, as much as it seems. It just started out, it's a slow process.
Okay.
But it became it was mentally a lot greater than physically between them two. All the physicality was there too, obviously, but, and then, and none of the guys knew. And Adam's big thing was like, oh, nobody has to know. We can keep this quiet, I was going, well, man, motherfucker, if you won't call Amy anymore and just stop right now, I said, we'll try that. I said, but fucking stop right now. I said, because I don't know what the fuck's going on. I said, but this is fucking horseshit. And when I see you again, I'm gonna fucking hit you in the face. I said, I'll tell you that right now. And
You slash the tires too, or something like that?
we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, cool.
I got the rap for that, even though I didn't do it.
Okay.
That's probably the big thing that got me released the first time too, and I was set up. This is a great story too. This is the best soap opera.
There's a lot
The writers wish they could write stuff like this. Anyway, the deal with him, like we said, don't talk. Let's try and salvage what's going on. And like Amy's afraid to talk to me because she's so guilty. Just like I said before, she's doing that thing where she's just hoping she'll close her eyes and like everything will go away. She just wants to bop in a corner and die. But then there comes a point where Adam's like, his wife goes back home to Colorado to be with her family. He's like, fuck it, my wife's out of here. I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to stop calling Amy. Matt can't stop me. So then they keep talking back and forth. And now, like, I still have her information. And I know the calls that are going on. And they're not kayfabing me or anything. And I was just like, dude, if you don't stop, I'm going to make this shit disastrous. Whatever. And then he's like, and I'm not even communicating with him really at this point. I said, but, if you don't stop and give us a chance. Because he would be talking to me in one breath going, I mean, Matt, you guys can salvage this because it's not too much, and I'm sorry, you can salvage this. And he's getting off the phone calling Amy, I love you, please come move in with me. Come move in with me. And then she's telling me, that, he's fucking crazy. Like, I know I'm fucked up, but he wants me to come move in with him. It's insane. And then she's like, I'm not sure, I don't know why I would have done this, and I shouldn't be with you, I shouldn't be with him. And she's like trying to figure out what's going on. And then, dude, like, once nobody was making any kind of logical sense, I told Shane about it, and like Jericho knew about it because he was good friends with him, and they was like, man, fuck those two motherfuckers. Should people know? It's like, fuck, I don't care. So then all the boys know. And then at work, they're getting everybody's just kind of giving them a look like, you motherfuckers, because they knew too, even from that period she was out with the broken neck, I was real good with Amy, and to get that treatment back, especially from her and a guy who was like one of my better friends, that was looked down upon.
Right.
And then there were things too, like, where I kind of, like, on my website, just seeing those pictures literally made me sick. That was the first thing that threw anything off. I told my guy, I said, take Amy's pictures down. He said, why? I said, I'm just not going to tell you, just take them down right now. Then on my message board, somebody's like, why do those pictures of Amy come down? And then at this point, because she's not making a lot of sense, and she's pissing me off and how she's acting, I said, well, why don't you go to an autograph signing and ask her? And that's kind of the shit that started everything. And then about this time, everybody starts snooping around. A lot of the guys in the dressing room know, and eventually this story breaks. And it's out on the net now.
Right.
And they go, oh, well, Matt and Lita broke up, and apparently Edge was the guy that had some sort of affair, and she cheated on him with Edge. And then everybody's like speculating. Even like, is this true? And then the people in the net are going, do you think Matt was mean to her? Did he beat her? Or did blah blah blah? And there's like my friends. I was telling all them, and then some of my friends posted, like, no, this is the story. This is what happened on my message board. And at that point, they're like, do you want me to post? And I was like, I don't give a fuck what you want to do. And they posted before I ever did anything.
Right.
It's not, I didn't make them do that, but I didn't tell them to stop either. And then the story got out, and that's where it all starts from to begin with. The office hot the story's out. Part of it's my fault. It's definitely not all my fault. And these motherfuckers are the guys that started the whole thing anyway in the locker room. So now it's like a show's coming up to Raleigh. I'm on the verge of coming back, and we go there, and like I know I talked to Johnny Ace, and he was just like, well, I've heard about the situation, and we don't want to bring this to the workplace. You guys handle it amongst yourself, and we want this personal situation to get out. We don't want it to get out of control and have complications in the workplace. It's like, okay, cool. And I was like, if this is gonna affect my job, fine, we'll do it. And I told Amy, I said, you can tell that motherfucker before Raleigh, because now they didn't want me to come to the Raleigh show TV because they're worried there's gonna be a physical altercation, a fight between me and Adam. And I told Amy, I said, tell that motherfucker, let's take care of this because now it's fucking with my professional career. I said, let's all meet before this Raleigh show and sit down and figure out what the fuck we're going to do, because everybody knew the draft was coming up, and like somebody could go to the other show or whatever, or we're going to avoid things, or we're going to figure out what was going on. And that was one of the most tense things ever. We were in the Microtel in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was sitting in there, and like Amy was in the bed, and he came walking in. Oh, and that was the first time I saw him. Believe me, it was all I could do not to fucking leap across that room and go off on him. And he just sat down, and she kind of sat in the middle, and we went through, and I just remember he wouldn't look at me too much. And, it was just, I was cutting a hole through him, and then whenever he would look up, we was going, well, what's going to happen out of this? We said, obviously, we shouldn't be on the same shows. I said, well, I think if there's any chance for me and Amy to repair our shit, I said, I don't think I should leave my show that I'm on now, Raw. I said, I think you should go to SmackDown. I think you should go to Vince and ask to do that. And you guys should be separated because you fucked up, and you're married, and it's my girlfriend, and if we are going to work this out, you need to be out of the picture right now. He's like, well, I don't know what they want to do. It was real obvious he didn't want to do that. I
Right.
don't know what they want to do, and it's not my place. I can't do anything about it. And whatever Vince wants to, yeah, you can go say that. I said, I'll go say that. So I'm not afraid to do that. And he says, well, I mean, do you want to go to SmackDown? I said, well, I don't even know. I said, what, to go to SmackDown and leave you two guys here? I said, do you want me to try and patch this thing up? I said, or do you not? Do you want to be with her? I said, what does it do? He said, well, I mean, if you guys can patch things up, that's fine. But I'll tell you, I love her. I love her. I remember he was just standing on the call, and I was just like, you motherfucker. And she was just sitting there, just like, I so don't want to be in this room. And then eventually, I remember he leaves, and me and her spend some time just sitting there talking. And it was the first time I'd seen her since she left. Whenever I kicked her out, she went to Atlanta and stayed with her moms. The first time I'd seen her in a couple weeks. It was a fucking high, intense situation, man.
Did Jeff ever get involved at all? Made phone calls?
When I told Jeff what happened, he's going, are you kidding me? He said, give me, and he called his phone. He said, Adam, you motherfucker. He said, I hate you. I hate you. He said, I can't believe you do this. I hate you. What in the fuck is wrong with you, man? You piece of shit. I hate you. And coming out of Jeff's mouth, that doesn't happen.
Right.
But he was so, so upset and moved by the whole incident. And then he called Amy and just like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? I just can't believe you do. I mean, why would you do this? And it was weird for him to talk to her because he still had such a good friendship with her. And then he got mad though at the very end of their conversation because she said, "Is that it? Do you have anything else to say? Is that it?" He's like, "Yeah, I guess that's it." Okay, fine, bye. Just hung up just because like she'd already heard it from all ends by this time, And I was supposed to be returning to house shows coming up like in Fayetteville and some shot Columbia, South Carolina, and they advertised me that night in Raleigh. It got a big reaction, and Raleigh was the first night being in my hometown where the "You Screwed Matt" and the "We Want Matt" chant started during the match with Edge and Jericho.
Right.
And once again, that just showed like the power of the net and stuff was starting to spread. And then you have a lot of people there, the people who knew the situation, that were pretty passionate Matt Hardy fans because still got a real strong grassroots following, in North Carolina, especially 45, 50 minutes from where I live. So these next shots in Fayetteville and Columbia, wherever they're supposed to be at, now I get pulled off them. And I know this isn't looking good because I know Johnny Ace is not a huge fan of that. Adam's like in the middle getting ready to get a push. And this story's got out, and I'm the guy that's at home, and I've been off TV for a long time. I don't have a lot of TV power coming off the last 6, 7 months. And I knew it was a weird situation, but I was still in the back of my head going, this is just such a fucked up situation, they wouldn't let me go. They wouldn't let me go out of the situation because it's fucked up. I said, especially as good of an employee as I've been for the company over all the years. And that night in Fayetteville, I came to the show anyway because I was unbooked for it, but nobody told me not to come.
Right.
And after talking to a couple of people at WWE, I was going to go there and just show, hey, yeah, I can be in the same locker room with Adam and coexist. So I walked around, I didn't talk to him, and it was very awkward. He just kind of hung in a room all to himself, and especially with the other guys there, knowing the tension was there and nobody really wanted to interact. It was odd.
Right.
And Arn was the agent there for the house show, and he's just like, Matthew, is everything cool here? I said, yeah, I'm fine, man. I said, I'm just here to hang out, say hello to everybody. He said, there's not going to be problems on my end. I guess he asked him as well, and he said, yeah, it's no problems on my end. So anyway, go to the show that night. I leave. Me, Shannon, some of the WB guys, a bunch of my friends were in town. We went and ate at Outback. We went to the strip club. They take real good care of us down in Fayetteville. We were hanging there all night. We were driving home that night, and that's actually where Shannon got in that head-on collision. It was that same night. I mean, I was occupied all night. But Adam, this didn't happen in Fayetteville. Everybody act like it happened in Fayetteville. He drove to Columbia. Somebody in Columbia slashed his tires and vandalized his car. And then the next day, after this had happened, he was late going to the show or whatever, and he told the people in the office, well, yeah, my car got vandalized or whatever. And I don't know if it was him or the office or who it was, but obviously I got blamed for that shit. And I was with witnesses all night, and it wasn't me. And his car got vandalized. But later I found out that was the big determining factor in me being released. Because the reason I was blamed for that is Jason Arndt, which is Joy Abs. He was the guy that dated Lori for the longest time. Lori Barber, remember the girl I told you I liked?
Yeah.
And after I kicked Amy out, a couple days later, I went through and I dug up her number and called her and said, hey, what you doing? I said, sorry about when I changed my number on you and this, that. I said, me and Amy, I think we're through. I said, if you want to get together and do something. So then I started hanging out with her, and almost like instantaneously, like, I'm hanging with her, and like we kind of, I mean, she's definitely my replacement for Amy.
Well, did you ever think of getting with Adam's wife for Retribution at all, or no?
I thought that went through my mind. Definitely went through my mind. But now I'm hanging out, kind of doing my thing with Lori. And while I'm with Lori this whole while, Jason, who was Joy Abs, who we had a big falling out, and he had a falling out with Lori and like lost her, and Now he knew that I was hanging out with Lori, and she was spending the night at my house and doing my, hanging out with me, and she was all about me from, like, when she called me when Amy was out with her broken neck. And now that Amy and I was separated, she had a chance to move in and be with me. She was ecstatic. So we're doing that, and Jason finds out about this, and he's furious about it. So he finds out that Adam's tires got slashed, and he calls Pete Gass, who calls maybe Shane McMahon or someone else in the office. But he gets back to Johnny Ace, and he says, "Yeah, I got some friends in Fayetteville, and they told me that Matt put a hit out on Adam, and they couldn't get the hit done, so they just vandalized his car and they fucked it up. So I just want you guys to know that because I'm worried for Adam's safety." He says, "And I don't know." He said, "Matt's just in a weird state of mind, and I'm just really worried for his safety. I thought you guys should know that." Completely making the shit up because he's jealous that I'm hanging out with Lori now. And Johnny Ace, that's all the info he needed, man. I never heard about this till later. It went from Johnny to Adam to Amy to me after we still communicated.
Right.
So that was the big determining factor that I put a hit out on Adam, and that was reported from Jason Hart, Joey Abs. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back in releasing me. And whenever Johnny Ace called, his thing was, and there were like 4 or 5 angles for me to come back. A big one at WrestleMania, 2 or 3 other things. I mean, there was a time, I've heard talked to every writer there was, and there was all these different ideas. Johnny calls me and says, "Matt, creative just really don't have anything for you, and the writers really think the version 1 characters kind of ran its extent, and there's really nothing to do." I said, "Johnny, you don't sound too convincing. Are you sure this don't have something to do with my situation?" "No, it has nothing to do with a personal situation. No, it's just we're just going to have to release you because we're going to look at some other guys, but there's just no ideas for you, and they really don't think they can do anything with you." I said, "Really?" I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "I find that a little hard to believe." I said, "Actually, I find that absolutely hard to believe." I said, "Fine, okay, cool, whatever." So that was the call I got. And I knew, obviously, what it was about, and it wasn't until, like I said, weeks later, actually probably a month later. And then I went back and I was able to call JR, which JR, I have a great rapport with him.
Right.
Johnny not so good, but I called JR and told that. And I put the word back that definitely wasn't me. And I called up Jason. He actually denied all that. "No, I didn't do it. I didn't tell him anything they didn't already know. I didn't make any calls." But I already knew from the source that he was the one that did that. How much of a soap opera is that? That's unbelievable, huh?
Now, Meltzer reported, I guess, a few weeks ago that Edge told fans at some convention that you and him talk all the time, or something like that.
Yeah, I read an interview that was supposedly a fake, and we didn't. The only times we talked was that time we met in the hotel. After this went down, there were a couple times we talked just out of necessity when I was telling him to chill the fuck out or what was going on. Don't talk to Amy anymore if we're going to patch things up. I talked to him the first time I saw him in person was at that time we met in Raleigh at the hotel to try and work things out. I saw him at the Fayetteville house show that night that his tires got slashed or whatever, which I didn't speak to him that night. And then there was one time later down the road where actually me, him, and Amy were in a 3-way conversation, and he made his best attempt to apologize for everything. Because Amy had already told him that she wasn't going to see him because she was confused and she needs to figure out what she's going to do.
After the internet, and it broke out on the internet, you were sitting at home and stuff like that. What did you think about the TV, that Amy, the reaction she got at MSG?
Yeah, well, the big backlash came from me being released because people knew I got released because of the situation. I mean, 1 + 2 = 3.
Right.
It was that simple.
Were you surprised that the internet took over just like that? And I mean,
yeah,
the reaction of people.
It was an MSG,
powerful.
and yeah, it was amazing. MSG is where the word spreads because if you bring some people in there that are knowledgeable fans, it's just like the Goldberg Brock match, man. It spread like wildfire. They were both leaving,
right.
And they massacred them that night. And when Amy came out there, it destroyed it mentally. That was the beginning. Like Amy right now is she is an emotional wreck, and that was the beginning of it right there. I mean that really bothered her badly, and like she's just so shut down and just removed from everything right now. She tries to pull it together on TV, but she's an emotional wreck right now.
Did you find out about the storyline with Edge, Lita, and he by watching it on TV, or did you have heads up?
I knew, just because I was still talking to her on a semi-regular basis, and she knew that they were going to go there, and she felt uncomfortable about going there, but she knew at this point, after she's already caused such, caused such a stir and caused so much trouble, like it's not like you can go to Vince and say, well, yeah, we were doing that on our off time, but now we're not going to do it on TV.
Right.
So, are you kidding me? You guys got yourself in this match where they're chanting during both your matches. We want Matt and you screwed Matt. He said, so obviously you're going to go together. And they were, Adam could have probably did something to stop it at that point because he kind of had a little pull, but Amy didn't have any kind of stroke going on. She just knew she had to go kind of roll the punches.